First thing Sunday morning, happy Mother's Day. Before everyone's up and about, just a quick rundown. Strap is all set, dyed, sealed. Now we're just gonna put these on there, get this all set. And then it'll just be the last few steps, snaps, backing, seal the edges, and this one will be done. And then on to the next project, whichever one I decide to go with first. Let's go. I had a conversation just recently. Someone asked how I find the time to do all of this. And my initial reaction usually to something like that is like it, it's kind of a it's kind of a lazy answer on the surface until I think about it. It's, well, you have just as much time as, like, yeah, Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and Warren Buffett, Gary Vaynerchuk, all these people that do tons of things. They own tons of businesses. They do lots of things. Like, you have just as much time as them. They have 24 hours. You have 24 hours. We all have 24 hours. And that's kind of a lazy answer, but it is my answer. And to break that down just a little bit, one thing that a lot of people do is give away their time, especially in their 20s and 30s. And when I was younger, in my 20s and 30s, in the back of my head, it was always there. I hated giving my time away to my job, like to anything that wasn't my core, me. So if the job wasn't exactly what I wanted to do, it got in the way. I always viewed it as something that was getting in the way of what I actually did. And back then, it was primarily the working out and music production. And those are like the two first ironclad things I really got into. And then as time went on, I got into the fire department. So then I would hyper focus on those things. And it was when I was doing music, 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever hours, that's what I was doing, nothing else. And then I'd go to the fitness center, and that's what I was doing. And then I joined the fire department and added that into the mix. So when I was at the fire department training for that, that's what I was doing. That's who I was. And I would just keep adding things. And then leather popped in a couple years after that. And then podcasting popped in. And then film commentaries popped in. And then all the other things, like now I'm doing bookbinding and all that. And that all pops in throughout all of that. But at the same time, that's all woven in between still being a dad, still being a boss, still being a husband, like still doing the normal everyday things. And then you just find a way to incorporate that with everything else that you're doing. It sounds difficult, but I don't know. For some reason, it's just not. Like when I look at it, I think if I put it into words, it sounds like it's difficult, but it's really not. Because there's some days you're not going to put in hours of each craft that you're doing. There'll be days I come in here and I sit for a half hour, maybe 15 minutes, do one small thing and let it sit until the next day or 2 or 3 days later, because that's what I have time for. Key is I'm still doing it, but I'm not giving my time to something else. And I think that's a big problem why a lot of people don't do what they really want to do, is because like the number one response is, well, I don't have time. You do, you're just giving it away. And a lot of people give their time away, especially when they don't want to. I think the older you get, the more you look at that as your time is precious. I was lucky enough from the get-go as seeing my time as precious. Whereas I think back then people were like, why are you focusing on things you're not actually getting anything from it? And at the time, no, not really, other than just my own satisfaction. But still, I was building something, seeing projects through, start to finish. Now, 20 plus years later, that time is precious. That's my time. So if it doesn't benefit me at this point in time, my job, whatever it is, I'm not going to be there. I'm fortunate enough now to where my job does benefit me, and also the things that I do here benefit me there. So, but I think that's over a long period of 20 years of building that up to be in a position where I can look at things in the abstract or things that have nothing to do with what I do here and be and say, I know how to deal with this because this is parallel to what I do on the norm. This is a long-winded answer, but I think people just giving their time away, that's how they interpret taking their own time sitting down and doing something they want to do, because they value, or they've been fooled into thinking that my worth is giving everything, all the free time that I have, to someone else who may or may not appreciate it, and then having nothing to fill my own cup. And I think that's a detriment. Like 100% a detriment. That's where you're going to get your stories of people that go to work, they're underappreciated or not appreciated at all. And they come home, they're completely mentally and physically drained, sit down, say hi to their family, turn on the TV, and then rinse and repeat the process after they go to bed, wake up the next morning, and here we go. Same thing, same story over and over. That life is terrifying to me. And right from the get-go, I was like, I am not doing that. No way. Like, I will do what I love to do, and everything else can work around that. And like, my core is family and this crazy shit that I do here, and everything else can work around that. I really think that's kind of the way you should approach everything. Like, otherwise, you're basically being a slave for something that you hate. And that's crazy to me. That's just my opinion. Do what you want. And that's pretty much it. I got a little square of 600 grit, like 600, 800, 600 grit sandpaper, just to take any kind of burr or anything that's off the finish, maybe like a clump or something like that that dried. But aside from that, the snaps are on, and just very lightly go around all your edges. But this is pretty much fine the way it is. Yeah. Now the moment of truth. This is always stressful. It doesn't matter how many times I do this, it's stressful. Is setting this up. See, the snaps don't come off after you snap them. So we shall see. They're always stiff the first time you do this. Hooray! Success. There you go. We're done. That is a start to finish of one of these belts. I don't think it turned out too bad for what it started as. One of those eBay thingies. But yeah, so there's your snakeskin. So there you go. That's another one down. Now I gotta work on. This is a rough draft. I was just molding the necro in leather just to see how that turned out. Not too bad. We'll see what we can do with that next. That's a different video though. Try stuff.